I could stand here and tell you facts like that most processed foods with vanilla flavouring actually get their flavour from a beaver's anal gland and wee, but we're going to get more serious right now. Here are the things you should know that corporations don't want you to know. Let's take a look at one of the biggest, most controversial food corporations, Monsanto. They're responsible for providing roughly 90% of genetically modified organism seeds in the world. Being GMOs means they can produce their own pesticide and survive toxic herbicides that Monsanto also sell, such as the weed killer Roundup. But get this, President Barack Obama passed the Monsanto Protection Act in 2013, which granted immunity to GMOs in federal courts, meaning that if future research reveals and proves that GMOs can cause significant health problems, well, nothing can be done to stop the spread, use, or sales. One last thing you might want to know, Monsanto are responsible for spending $46 million alongside other huge corporations to kill Proposition 37, which would have made labelling GMO foods in the US compulsory. This makes the US the only developed country in the world to not tell people whether what they're eating is GMO or not. You may be lured in by natural organic products that promise that the grass is greener on the other side, but there are traps in this long grass. Some of these companies are just subsidiaries of other large corporations, such as our favourite bad news giver, Monsanto. Big corporations buy smaller companies and thus increase their market shares and power. For example, only 4 companies worldwide are responsible for breeding factory-farmed chickens. Here's just a glimpse into some of the companies you might have thought represented the individual that actually don't. Coca-Cola owns Vitamin Water, Minute Maid, and Honest Tea. General Mills owns Nature Valley. Heinz owns Weight Watchers. Nestle owns Pellegrino and Perrier. PepsiCo owns Tropicana, Quaker, and Naked Juice. If you want to see the full list, check out the link in the description below. Millions of antibiotics are fed to animals in factory farms for growth enhancement, a technique that has long been FDA approved. In Germany, 1/3 of antibiotics sold are used in animal production. In China, 1/2. In the US, 8 times more antibiotics are used in factory farms than in hospitals. This is important to us because it increases our resistance to antibiotics, and in doing so, it increases the risk of incurable infections. The World Health Organization says this is one of the most serious threats for human health. A new report from the Natural Resource Defenses Council gathered FDA documents under the Freedom of Information Act that revealed that 30 potentially harmful antibiotics remained on the market in order to feed the animals. Avinash Kar, an attorney for the NRDC, states the FDA knew the risks, but they still haven't done anything to revoke the approval of these drugs. The FDA's response has been to phase out all medically important antimicrobials, but they've called it voluntary, for which they have been criticised. Millions of farmers and agricultural workers are poisoned by pesticides every year, an estimated 40,000 of them fatally, although many go unreported. These agricultural workers also include 132 million, or 70% of all working children worldwide. With many of these workers being undocumented immigrants, a survey in New Mexico revealed that the workers were told if they didn't work directly with pesticides, they would lose their jobs. Occupational and Environmental Health Director of Farm Worker Justice, Virginia Roos, has said even though the workers could take precautions, the close proximity of agricultural fields to residential areas and schools makes it nearly impossible for farm workers and their families to escape exposure because pesticides are in the air they breathe and the food they eat, and the soil where they work and play. It's not only pesticides. Marine life is being wiped out due to overuse of fertilizer. The 2008 journal Science Daily reported that around the globe, about 400 coastal regions covering an area equal to that of the UK were dead because of fertilizer causing toxicity by releasing ammonia into the water. The typical fast food burger is made from the bits of rubbish meat left over from the good stuff. Some of you may know this, although you will put it to the back of your mind. What you might not know is that by smacking these cuts together, bacteria like E. coli can thrive, so they clean it off with ammonia. The USDA lets a company called Beef Products pipe the raw meat and expose it to ammonia gas. The ammonia poisoning our marine life is also used in the food we eat. This is not a health issue, this is an I'm grossed out by this issue. Reminds me of a certain beaver's anal gland. A few major global companies dictate what goes in the food chain, whether it's prices, working conditions, expulsion from land, patents on seeds, and even, in some cases, government policies.